So again, thank you for coming. I am Dr. Jody Boyle. This is our first official Q&A, our second community meeting that we've had for Miwok Village Elementary School. And as always, the work that we're doing is focused on ensuring that we're providing the needs and meeting the needs of all of our students, looking through the lens of equity to ensure that every student is learning in every classroom and every subject every day to prepare to be college, career, and life-ready graduates. Our social emotional learning lens, as we look at how we're supporting our students academically, behaviorally, as well as social emotionally, to ensure that they have what they need in order to be those life-ready career and college graduates. Our Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is that litmus test for us that allows us to see where we are. Are our needs being met? Are we ensuring that we can be at the top of that pyramid where we have the most desired outcome of who we are each and every day? That is to make sure that we have our psychological safety needs being met. That love and belonging is there. That's for us as adults as well for our students. And this is something that I will always remind you of. These two pieces, that social emotional and that hierarchy of needs, is something we will focus on in every meeting when we come together. This is something that I will do with all of my staff as well as students, so they know and they recognize what they need and to be able to call that out so we can support them. And as I lead each day, I focus on how I'm doing that with humility, joy, kindness, love, courage, and grace. And it is one that, you know, any of you who have been with me on meetings, you know that it's like, oh, there we go, asking for that grace again. So I appreciate you being here with me tonight and every day through this journey. So tonight we will go through a campus update. We will just briefly talk about our enrollment process, which hasn't changed. It's just a snapshot of where we are, and the track change process and how that will roll out as we move towards April, just as a reminder and what to look for as we head toward that month. And then the exciting and updated mascot and school color survey. So that is live today. It is live tonight, and I will be emailing that out to everyone tomorrow so that you have the opportunity to go through the mascot and color survey with your children, and they can have a say in what they would like to be known as we look at who we are as Miwok Village Elementary School staff, family, community, and students. So today you'll understand what is happening and what is to come at Miwok Village Elementary School, how to enroll your students, identifying that process for what you'll do if you would like to request a track change, and then the site mascot and school color choices. Also, what's not on here, which should be on here, is how you can get involved in next steps in that and what you would like to be able to do going forward. And then at the end, we'll sum it up with questions and answers. So here are 3 shots. These shots were taken on Monday. These are aerial shots of our site. So you can see what we look like from an aerial view. So it's our footprint. So we are located at the corner, not currently, Jen and I are housed at Carroll Elementary School, but once we are physically in our location at Miwok Village Elementary School, we'll be right on the corner of Lusada and Poppy Ridge. And that is a 10-acre parcel with 70,000 square feet of buildings, 7 buildings, an administration building, a library, multipurpose room, kindergarten building, and then 3 learning lodges, which will house our 1st through 6th grade students. And we are absolutely on track for our July opening, and we will start on the year-round schedule. So if you look at this center picture here, this kind of gives us a great frame of reference for where we are. So this running along kind of the diagonal of the picture is Lusada Drive. And this front parking lot area here that they are currently putting in the concrete barriers for, this is going to be where drop-off and pickup will be each day for your students. So in between the 2 buildings here, this is our administration building, this is our multi-purpose room building. And in between this area, this is where you see we'll have gates will be there and students will enter in. This lane is it's too wide. So you'll have cars that will be driving through that will be stopping, and then cars that will be able to continue through. But this parking that will be available in this lot, this is just for those who are coming day to day. All staff parking is located up in this direction on Poppy Ridge. So it's just beyond on Poppy Ridge. There's a large parking lot, and that is where staff parking will be. And those that are coming, that will be working on campus will be here. And just outside of our library building, near where the outdoor learning area is, here in the corner of where Poppy Ridge runs and Lusada Drive runs. This is where the bus lane will be for our special education students. So for any students that are arriving by from transportation on a bus through special education will be dropped off in this area here. So there's 3 different parking and vehicle areas, which is unusual at so many of our sites, which hopefully will alleviate some of that congestion that occurs before and after school. Because oftentimes you have staff coming into a parking lot trying to park to start their day. You have buses trying to come into another location to drop off students. And then we have our families trying to drop off students as well. And it can get very congested. So this, I'm hopeful, will alleviate some of that pressure. So just as a snapshot so you can see, so I showed you this building in the middle front is our admin building. The large building to the right of that is our multipurpose room building. Just to the left of admin, this is the kinder and transitional kindergarten building. Behind it to the diagonal, this is the library building. And then you see the 3 learning lodges in the center back. So those will house our 1st through 6th grade classes and those 3 buildings. The play structure, the concrete, the hardscape for basketball, tetherball, all of that fun will be where you kind of see all these cars over in this side back area. That's where that will run. So you can kind of get an idea of what it will look like as we continue to develop. The far grass area in this top picture, you can see the far grass area beyond. That is what's scheduled to be a park. So we will be surrounded by open and park area, which is always nice not to have class or houses right directly behind the campus. It gives us a little bit of that space. So it is really, you know, I have said this a million times. I say awesome, probably more than any one person should, but it's a hard word not to use in describing where we'll be in a very short period of time. So we're very excited. So I hope if you have any questions, you'll be able to ask those of me as we continue on in the presentation. So moving forward, and again, we are right on track. Everything is where it's supposed to be, how it's supposed to be, so it's looking fantastic. So update, just continuing on the enrollment process. So it's ongoing. If you are new to the area or you're scheduled to move into the Miwok Village Elementary School boundary area, have not moved yet, but you've purchased a home, you know you want to live there, you know you have someone that they're looking to do that, and they have students, have children that they would like to be able to enroll. There's 2 ways that they can go about doing that. So they can always contact us here at Carroll, and we will support them in that process. But the information can also be found at the district's website, which is new and improved as of today. And then also our website, which I'm going to link you here to the sites .google.com. So when I put this slideshow, or I should say, not when Miss Jen puts the slideshow up on our website, we'll also make sure that you have not only this recording, but you'll have these slides so that you can link to our site, which this is the site, the Miwok Village Elementary School site, which gives you all of the information that you need for how you can register, schedule an appointment. So you can return your packet here. There's a link at the top. There's a calendar that always shows. Jen is amazing at making sure that our events are scheduled. So tonight's meeting was scheduled on there. The information on how to be able to access is there. The first meeting that we held is up, as well as the letter that was sent out at the beginning of the year. And then here are some additional enrollment information and packets for you to be able to click on. If you want to ensure you're in the boundary area, you can't find what you need, how to email us, all of your links are here. In addition, up under the home in the top right, there is a frequently asked questions section. And if you click on that, it will take you to some of the most frequently asked questions that we've had, and so we can help you with that process. So we have those goodies. I want to make sure I'm back up on my presentation, correct? So if it can just get a thumbs up, Mrs. Goodnight, I can see you. Are you able to see my presentation? Awesome. Thank you so much. So the next question that comes up most often is, how do we change tracks? If we are currently at Zinder Ranch Elementary School, or we are at we're at Arlene Hine, we are at Carroll, we are at Car Costello, and we know we're going to need to go into a track, how do we ensure we're on the track that's best for our family? So if you have previously submitted a track change request to Zinder Ranch Elementary School, those have all been turned over to us. So we have those and we'll be able to support you in that process. For those who are looking to be able to change tracks or to identify the track that they're going to want their children to be on, we will have an online process that will be set up and open in April. Because that will be able to, our numbers will be more settled. We'll have our kindergarten tracks established. Our classrooms will be more guided. We'll be able to go in and actually confirm where our enrollment is and where we'll have tracks and classes available. So at that time, we'll roll out, it'll be right around the same time that any intra-district transfers would open up. It'll be that same time. Also in April will be the grandfathering process. So April's our big month. So for those who are currently registered to attend Miwok Village Elementary School, but they're going to be in 5th or 6th grade and they're at Zinder Ranch, the option to be able to return and stay at Zinder Ranch for their 5th and 6th grade year will be available. And that grandfathering process will begin in April, and you will work with me on that. So you'll receive, there's been information that's gone out for you to let us know if your intention is to stay with us at Miwok Village, or if you want to return to Zinder Ranch. Just a real quick survey to guide us in that, how many families we're going to be supporting in that. But you will work with me and I will help you. Again, all of that will happen in April. So now the really, really fun part, which is the mascot and colors. So again, we've had a school planning committee that has been meeting, and part of that process is identifying what we will be, who we will be as a mascot that will represent our site, as well as the colors that represent our site as well. So part of what we've talked about since the beginning is really ensuring that we are representing not only the Miwok Village tribal Indian band of tribal Indians, the Miwok tribal Indians, but also our community of Native American families and how we can best do that. So we've been meeting with those tribal members as a part of the Wilton Rancheria tribe. And then as well as I've had the opportunity to meet with our Native Ed coordinator for the district, our Native American Education Program coordinator for the district. And we just brainstormed and came up with so many amazing ideas, and those were all brought forward to the school planning committee, and a survey was sent out to them of all of the various options where we looked at the animals that really represented our tribal community, and then what it means to the Native American community, as well as those colors. So from there we narrowed down. So a little drum roll, we'll pretend we have one, as we look at our top 5 choices, which now our families will have the option of being able to select. So we have our survey is up, it is live tonight, and we have our top 5 choices. So the first would be, and I meant to put this in there and I did put it into the survey, so I'll show you that. We have the Miwok Village Elementary Grizzlies. As grizzly bears are identified as being strong, they're courageous, they're wise. In our native cultures and the history, they take on that role of wisdom and really showing that strength of courage. We have the condors, the California condors, so the Miwok Village Elementary condors, which condors are righteous leaders. They are associated with justice, wisdom, and strength. There are some of the stories where they are those that carry the message on high. They continue up the highest. We have the Miwok Village Elementary School Coyotes. Coyotes are known for their cleverness, their trickery, adaptability, fun, and playfulness. We have the Miwok Village Elementary School Foxes, who are clever and independent, playful and protective, and the Miwok Village Elementary School hummingbirds, which hummingbirds are joyful. They represent healing, beauty, and sweetness. So those are the top 5. So the survey that is up and live allows for our families and our students, our Miwok Village Elementary School students, to choose what they want to be represented, which mascot they want to represent them. So we have the 5 choices, and then our top 3 color choices. So these are the colors that we would have, and one color that was dominant and came up the strongest in the surveys that went out was the color orange. We know that the color orange in the tribe really represents the flicker bands that they wear in their dance ceremonies and then their tribal ceremonies. The orange is a color that is represented throughout. Brown and red were also combinations of colors that we saw in many of the representations, and in the flag that was represented for the central band of Miwok Indians. Their flag represents the colors and has brown and red and orange and yellow. And so the 3 top color choices, which are traditionally paired with black and white, as we look at the combinations for how we would have in our writing on our spirit wear and other fun displays, each had orange. So orange is that foundation color, and then orange and brown and orange and red. So I'm going to take you to that link now, the survey link, so you can take a look at what the survey link looks like. So you have a choice to select one of the mascot choices and one of the color option choices. And by the time we have our next meeting, which will be in March, we will have our mascot and color selected. So we're very excited. We'll have, for the next 3 weeks, we will have this survey up and live for our families to be able to vote. So I will be sending this out in an email to you tomorrow, along with the links to the slides from tonight, as well as making sure that you have a link to our Google site that you can click on to be able to access and rewatch this presentation if desired. So for the next phases, before we get to our Q&A portion, is how you can get involved. So if you'd like to join our school planning committee, we're beyond just what we're working on for establishing our mascot and our color choices. We've been working on looking at our school mission and vision, and what we see as core values for our students and how we're collaborating on that process. We're continuing to work on that, and we'll be looking deeply into what we need to be able to open. Some of our discussions most recently, and we'll continue into our next meeting, we'll be looking at the options for parent engagement committees, such as either a PTA or a PTO or FLC, a Family Leadership Council, or a parent teacher organization, or working with the National Parent Teacher Association. So those are some of the discussions we're having right now that we're working on before then we bring it forward to our entire community to determine what we want to have. But there will be additional opportunities as we go forward. So having Jen's email at jkelton@egusd.net. She will link you right in. She'll get you in the email group, and we'll get you all of the information you need. As a schedule, so you can see when our next meeting is scheduled. So we will be meeting next as a planning committee on Thursday, March 3rd. That meeting is at 5 o'clock. All of those meetings going forward are at that same time. We may not have the March 15th one. We're looking at that one a little closely since that is my 25th wedding anniversary, and I haven't informed Mr. Boyle yet that I have a meeting that night, but we'll see. I might just stick with you all that evening and then get with him after that for dinner. So that is all of the amazing fun that I have for you all. And this takes us to our questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can all come together. Thank you for being in the chat. I love seeing you all there. So we'll be able to, you unmuted. So we'll just make sure we have, there we go. Thank you. We'll be able to get into the chat questions. I'll be able to go through those and answer those questions, as well as making sure that we add any of those questions to the frequently asked questions if they're ones that we need to answer. So I'll just kind of start at the top. I see actually at the bottom an excellent question. Do we have a bell schedule yet? We do not. So that process will come with the district is working. This comes from the process with elementary education. We work with elementary ed, transportation department, as well as the district will determine exactly what our bell schedule will be. So as soon as that is determined, you will have that information. As of right now, it is not set. So we do have our calendar that was adopted at the end of January by the Board of Education. It is currently up on the site. So we know when our school year will start, and that will make sure we put a link to the calendar on our website also. So you'll be able to access that. So a traffic light on the corner of Lusada and Whitelock. So this is one I know that was a part of the questions that came up with the district and with facilities. So that's something that the city of Elk Grove is working on, what needs to be as far as the traffic patterns, where there would be lights. Right now, we do not have any students who would be crossing from Whitelock to Lusada, since our division line is Lusada. Excuse me. Whitelock, because we know that all of our students who are south, our boundary area is south of Whitelock. So all north of Whitelock would be still within the Zinder Ranch community area, and then south of Whitelock will come to us. But as we've seen with the other traffic lights they've put in, they are monitoring that. So we will, if we find out in the information on traffic light, that would come from the city of Elk Grove for that. So when you will receive your track, if you are currently on a track, your child was rolled into our enrollment on that same track. So we're not at this time, we have not gone through any track changes at this time, because we have not received all of our final numbers and track selections as far as what our staffing will be yet. So we know we will be starting our year on a year-round calendar. However, the determination of the classes on each track is based on the enrollment numbers at each grade level. So that will come later. Our intention is to be able to have all of that information sent out to families by the 1st of June. We start in the middle of July. So our school year for 21-22 officially ends in June. But if you have, we will be making contact as we get into April. We'll start contacting our families that are coming over from a traditional site to ensure that they have the option to select what their choices are, first, second, third, and fourth for tracks. So we can get them set up on a track. And then we'll be going through, once we have those identified and our kinder students have their track assignments, then we'll be able to determine the track change process. So I have not heard of any speed bumps on Poppy Ridge. That is something I know that we'll be monitoring also. We'll be working, one of the options as far as how you can get involved is looking at our school, our safe routes to school. We have a safe routes to school coordinator in the district, and I will be working with him and our committee of community members and teachers who would like to be a part of that process. And we'll be working with our district safety and security department to determine what are the best routes. And if there are those that are needed, he does work closely with the Elk Grove, with the city of Elk Grove, and what we need as well. So that's part of that community. I really recommend that if you'd like to be involved in that process, to join us, because this is something we'll be working on. This is one of our March, April. So as we finally are able to see where our driveways and our drop-off zones will be and how that's set up, we work with them to determine how exactly that will roll out, where those crosswalks need to be, how we need to have those monitored, and as such. So that's a committee that will be forming in the next month. So please, if you are inclined and have time to be able, even if it's just being able to be involved through email, it would be wonderful to have you be a part of that committee. There is a separate playground for TK and kindergarten. Every school site does have a separate location for where their TK kinder students are able to play. Ours is located right at the front of the TK. On the Lusada side, you saw where the building was located for kinder. So on that Lusada side, that's where that playground will be for TK and kinder. We'll be right in front of it there. You do not, if you are receiving, if you've already enrolled your kindergarten, so this next question is fantastic, wanting to check about enrollment information. If you have a student who is, if you're receiving my emails, we do have a child enrolled. If you've enrolled a kindergarten student, we have your kinder child enrolled. If you would like to double check just to make sure you're where you're supposed to be, please give us a call. Jen and I are here at Carroll Elementary. I'm going to put our contact information here in the chat box. Jennifer's email, my email, and then the phone number where we can be reached. And this will allow you to give us a call. Let me make sure I type it in correctly, because I know there was one that I typed incorrectly. But you'll be able to get a hold of us, contact us at any time, and we can run right through that process, except for a period of time this morning where our entire system was down and then no one in the district was able to access it. We are able to check pretty quickly to let you know if your children are enrolled. So
sorry, I'm gonna interrupt real quick. Just quick update. If you guys don't have this information, if you go to the EGUSD website now, our new fancy just Elk Grove Unified School District, and you go to Miwok Village, our website is linked there. Our phone number is there.
Is it there now?
Yes, all of the updates were made this afternoon. So
that is wonderful news.
Straight to the Elk Grove website to find us if you don't get this information.
Oh, I'm going to take you on a quick journey. I think I'm going to pull it up because that is outstanding news. It was not up as of earlier today. So the fact that we are all set and we get to now have our link is really excellent news. So I'm going to take us there in just a second. So I want to be able to go back through. Excellent questions about Zinder Ranch. So the track change process with Zinder Ranch, there are some families that have been requesting a track change at Zinder Ranch for at least the last 2 years, sometimes 2+ years. Those track change requests were just sent over to us. So even though there's no longer an option to be able to put in a track change with Zinder Ranch, if your child is going to be coming to Miwok Village Elementary School, if you previously turned in a track change request, that will be honored. So we have all of that information and we'll be supporting in that process.
And I will be reaching out to everybody to let them know that I have them.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. So again, that's another one. Just give us a call and we will help you with that. Automatic. That's a quick one for us to be able to support you. And then when you want to look at being able to move forward with creating one, we will be doing that in April. So if we are able to change your track, you will hear from us directly. So once we start the track change process and we're able to accommodate, you will get a phone call from Jennifer, or you'll get a phone call from Jen, you'll get a call from me, you'll get a call from one of us that says, we have an opening on this track. I have a track change request for you. Would you like to move your child to C track? And then you have the opportunity to say yes or no, thank you. I'm going to remain where I am. And at that point, then the track change would go and we'd be able to move to the next person in line. So we will go in order on that. So TK is one of our tracks. Our TK class will be on one of our tracks. So it has not been determined yet which track, because again, the staffing determination and the enrollment numbers will drive where that will be. But TK is on one track because at this time we only have one TK with us at Miwok Village Elementary. Preschool, we are working on that. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity, if you've seen, there was an email that went out from Dr. Tabitha Thompson. She is our district's director of elementary education, specifically supporting our preschool and TK programs. And Dr. Thompson sent out an email regarding preschool interest. So she's looking for a response on that so that we can kind of gauge and determine what our requests are for preschool, so that as soon as we're able to have those numbers and are approved, we will look at being able to see what preschool options we will have. So at this time, we've not been given a preschool yet, but we're hopeful based on those interest forms that we'll be able to have a preschool at Miwok Village Elementary School. So I believe it is tomorrow is the last day that the survey through elementary education is available for pre-K. It does not mean if you did not respond that you would not be having pre-K as an option. It just gives us the numbers and the interest. So as of last Friday, she had quite a few phone calls coming in. And then, yes, so those who have asked Miwok Village Elementary School for track change requests for this next school year, they will direct you to us, and we will be doing that all in April. So Miwok Village Elementary School, Zinder Ranch, we are in continuous communication. So if you're going to, they will not change your track in their system because they are not able to accommodate track changes at this time. So they are going to direct you to us to support you in that track change process. So I did have an information, and this came up at our last meeting also. There was notification that there is someone who is identified as a registered sex offender in the area. Our district is aware of that. That is information that we do have. Our district safety and security department has that information. The Elk Grove Police Department has that information as well. And it is something that we are always looking to support our students to ensure they are safe. So if you have additional questions and concerns, please call me here. I would love to be able to talk to you about that. But again, it is something that we're absolutely aware of. And we do have that. That was very early on I was made aware of that information, and to ensure that our students will be safe. The grandfathering process, again, that will start in April. So I'm just going right down the list of our questions. So we do have the grandfathering process will be in April again. And as soon as that letter, you will receive a letter from me if you are eligible to remain at Zinder Ranch or return to Zinder Ranch Elementary School for your child's 5th or 6th grade year. At that time, you will complete the form that is sent to you. You will return it to me, and then I will support you in that process. So again, it is for our 5th and 6th grade students and their currently enrolled siblings at Zinder Ranch Elementary School. So we will support that process. So yes, I had sent out the survey. If there's some who are currently were offloaded to other schools like here at Carroll Elementary or Arlene Hine Elementary School. There may be those that are looking to remain. That at this time, I've not received confirmation on whether students can be grandfathered into that site, but I can help you giving Jen and myself a call. We can support you in identifying if one of those school sites are open to intra-district transfers, and we can support in looking at if that would be an option for your family. So if they are open to intra-district transfers, you have daycare in the area, if there's other availability, at this time, what we have confirmation of grandfathering will just be for those currently enrolled at Zinder Ranch, remaining at Zinder Ranch Elementary School for their 5th and 6th grade year. But again, we can go through that process and support you with that process. Just give us a call and we'll help you through that. Meet and greet or open house prior to the school year. Oh, I am so hopeful that we will be able to do that. I know that when I opened up Zinder Ranch Elementary School, we had the night before school started, we were able to do a modified tour of the campus. We were able to host a couple of tours. So it really depends upon when when the builders release the campus to the district. So once the district receives the campus as being released and open for us to be able to move into, we'll be able to plan and move into the campus on that way. I know that originally we had at Zinder Ranch, we had a huge barbecue planned. We were going to do an early ribbon cutting ceremony, an amazing event. And we had to move it to the park because the campus we were skating in right at the end. I'm hopeful that won't be the case, but trust me, we will work on options and what different ways we'll be able to. But my hope and intention is that we'll be able to do some walking tours of the campus, have a back to school night beforehand. I'm hopeful that we'll be open and available to do that in person. We're always going to have our various plans in place so that we can support you in that. The bell schedule, again, we're not there yet. As soon as we have that, it'll be released to you. You'll know where we are. And the daily schedules, we do not have our daily schedules yet. Those will coming. Vice principal, that usually we start the vice principal selection process in around April. We open up that and we begin the vice principal selection process. Vice principals are contracted, their contract year begins in July. So it would be with the start of the school year that our vice principal would begin also. So I'm hopeful that if we're able to start that early, and I was lucky in the sense that I was Even though I was with another school site, I knew I was going to be opening up Zinder Ranch Elementary School as the vice principal. So I had those opportunities to be a part of those processes early. So I'm hopeful we'll have that, but we won't start the looking process and the interview process until later in the year. April's a very big month for us. I'm realizing so many things happen in April. It's good because we're getting down to the nitty gritty. And so good. So TK determination for AM, PM has not been determined yet. The track schedule for TK has not been determined yet. Those all will come with our enrollment, where our numbers will be. Your students, if looking for registration, if you are already currently enrolled in an Elk Grove Unified School District site and you have your address listed as a Miwok Village boundary within the boundary for our site, you've already rolled over to us. If you have not, or you're outside of the district and you would like to be able to enroll, you can contact us or in that link at the Elk Grove Unified School District site. So I'm taking you there right now. I'm going to take you on over to the screen. You should be able to see the Elk Grove Unified School District. Jen, can you see it? Elk Grove Unified School District, this is the brand new site that's just went up today. In the upper left-hand corner, you see our schools. If you click on our schools, and you can even just type in Miwok Village Elementary. And here we are. Look at us, we're so excited. And you go to school info, it lets you know who we are. This is our site. You click on visit the website and it takes you right, oh, this is beautiful. I'm so excited. It takes you right to that home site. And here is an appointment schedule to allow you to make an appointment to return a packet and come on down to enrollment information. And here's where you'll be able to link to the enrollment information also that we have on our site. If you would like to be able to go through, and here's where the frequently asked questions, I had talked about that earlier. So many of the frequently asked questions that we've had about Miwok Village Elementary School, they are all here on this page. We've added information, and as additional, this is being continuously updated. So as additional information is added, you'll be able to click on it and you'll find that here. So under what are the school hours, still to be determined, this information is in process right now. And about our ribbon cutting ceremony, when and hopefully we'll be able to have that and how that will look. Again, we're looking at various options in the information we have. I am very excited to let you know that we do have now a child care program that will be on our site. They do not have a physical building yet because everything's in process, but Catalyst Kids will be joining us. So their number here is on our site. And Jen, can you type their number into the chat for me also? That way they have Catalyst Kids, the number that their regional offices can be reached, and we can make sure that our families are able to connect on how the enrollment will work for Catalyst Kids at Miwok Village Elementary School. So those are the two big areas, but this site will take you there. The Elk Grove Unified School District website also, if you type in enrollment, will take you to the enrollment page and how to complete the online enrollment form. I know there was some, I've got the after school program in there. I'm going through my notes. I'm trying to make sure I get everyone. Got the website in there. Let's see. Boy, you guys are good typers. I'm impressed. They're typing faster than I talk. And we know that's a feat because I talk faster than most. So those new typical start times for Elk Grove schools, we really range. We have a couple of schools in our district that start just around 8 o'clock or right at 8 o'clock. And then we have some that start later. Zinder Ranch Elementary School starts at 8:45. We are moving to a start time that is after 8 o'clock, correct? For all high schools and middle schools? Jen, is it after 8 for them? So there may be some adjustment to some of the schools of what it needs to be. So we're waiting for that determination. They'll let us know as soon as they have made that determination. We've got our after school program answered. I'm not sure where the Sterling Meadows community, where that street will connect. Again, we can look at some of our maps and see if we can help you with that one. But usually the city of Elk Grove is really fantastic at being able to share where those street connections are. We've got the before and after school program again. so on Whitelock to turn on to Lasada, for the Camera Park community. Any connections for the community, again, would come from, those would be the city connections, because the school district won't build in those connection pieces. So the connections and any crosswalks and those will come from the city of Elk Grove. So if you want to confirm that we have received your track change request from Zinder Ranch Elementary School, please just call Jennifer. Jen and I, we will help you with that. I keep calling her Jennifer. I love to be able to give the full name, but she has reminded me that's only if she's in trouble. So she's not in trouble. I will not call her Jennifer. I promise. It's just Jen. And then, so training and development for our teachers. And when we anticipate being the full staff for the first day of school with the teacher shortage, this is one of the most amazing pieces about opening a brand new school. We have just to give you a snapshot, I was provided the opportunity as opening up a brand new school to have teachers have an early transfer request option. So there were 9 positions that were posted and made available to teachers. And for those 9 teaching positions, I had 72 applicants come in. And those are teachers already teaching and amazing in the Elk Grove Unified School District, who just want the number of outside interest and inside interest of teachers who I know want to be able to come to our site and support our site is phenomenal. Elk Grove is truly the most amazing district to work for. So seeing a teaching shortage is not something that I'm forecasting in any way, just knowing that we are going to be able to be fully staffed by the time we open in July. Right now we have 9 teachers because that's how many teaching positions I've been given. As the district determines enrollment and where we are, that's how staffing is determined. And then they release positions to me, and then the hiring process moves forward. So as far as training and development, we have a curriculum and professional development department, and our teachers, and we have coaches throughout the district that are constantly providing training and development. Each of our staff meetings are centered on how we're providing professional learning opportunities to our teachers. As a principal, I'm an instructional leader. I say always, I'm a teacher first. I know that if I decide, okay, that was fun, I'm going right back to the classroom, because that's where I love to be the most. So I look at what I provide to my teaching staff every day and my support staff, and how I can support them in that process and ensure that they have what they need in order to be successful with their students. So what happens instructionally in the classroom and how students are supported academically, social, emotionally, and behaviorally is my top priority in the classroom every day. I'll be in the classrooms every day. My vice principal will be in the classrooms every day. So we will be there with your children, and we'll know and how we're supporting our teachers. So it is our priority. We ensure that our students have what they need so they're successful every day. So we've already been planning as a leadership team those early professional learning opportunities. And I'm excited to say that I'm taking that leadership team in the end of June, 1st of July. We're going to be participating in an AVID training development. So we will be kicking off as an AVID school that looks at how we prepare our students to be ready for each and every year as they go forward, and they have the skills and the development they need. So we'll be looking at those also, and more to come on the AVID greatness that we'll be bringing to your children each day. So the preschool program, as soon as we're able to, one of the pieces that has to occur in order for a preschool program, especially a state-run preschool program, to occur at a site is it has to be approved to have all of the main functions. In order for that to happen, the building has to be completed. So as soon as we are cleared to be able to come through and go through those processes, we will, which will allow us to know which preschool program we'll be able to offer. So that will come later as we get closer to June. Because again, we have to have those pieces in place in order for them to come in and do their inspections. So for the track, as soon as one of the pieces that occurs for kindergarten enrollment, oh yes, Miss Jen.
I was like, so I know I want to answer this one just because my goal is to get everybody an estimate in March, but I have been repeatedly telling everybody when I send it to you, it's going to scream the words tentative across it, because it'll just be our best guess based on the current numbers that we have enrolled. However, kids are going to continue to enroll, so we may be able to add tracks, or if they're at the end in June, if there is not a track that is full and we have to close a track, that could happen. So June is when you're going to get your official answers. I will definitely try to get everybody just some tentative, this is what we're hoping for information for March. So if you don't like what you get, we can work on a track change in April, so we can kind of have everybody settled by May. So like June very 1st, I can send out some definitive info. That's kind of the timeline in my head.
And that was for the track options for kindergarten. Again, kinder registration window in order to be a part of the random selection is through the 24th of February. So February 24th at 3 o'clock is when that closes. And then we go to the random selection process. So once that occurs, and it's not like immediate because it takes a second for all the bugs to be worked out. We make sure we have siblings aligned and all those details. Then that tentative will come out. And then we'll be able to move forward. But again, enrollment drives everything we do. So if we have an enrollment, so for example, if we have a B and a C track with 24 students in each, and then an A and a D track with 5 students, then we have to look at what's going to happen to ensure that we either move and combine and to get our registration. So enrollment drives everything. So you'll never hear us say you are guaranteed, because that is the one thing we know, and especially in a year-round school, we are unable to guarantee that process. But we will work with you, we will support you, and we will do our very best to ensure that you have and your children have exactly what they need. Okay, so good. We've got the contact information. We've got the website there. We're doing great. Looking at the time, we're perfect. So pre-K, the classes, we do not have that information. We don't know what grade levels will be supported. We do not know which track there will be. We do not know any of those details. All we know is that they're completing the surveys right now to determine if there's interest in those programs, and they will let us know as soon as they can. The track priority, we do not have a track priority process. So we just really have a process for ensuring that our students are together. So if you have multiple children, our intention is to keep those students on the same track. So that is how it is determined. We will support you in making sure that, but we do not have a priority process. We do have, as far as those who have requested a track change, and some have had those, or anytime a track change is requested, it is based on a date and time stamp. So those that were previously submitted, we do have those date and time stamp documents. Going forward, we'll have an online process which will automatically give us the date and time that it comes in, and we honor those in those order. So it won't matter if it's 3 children or 1 child. It would be the same. It would be based on date and time of enrollment, or date and time of completion of that form. So let's see, it's tracked. Most of it is the track change. Having the same teacher for twins, we will support you in that. Oftentimes we would keep your children on the same track, and if that's the case, we may only have one teacher on a track. So again, as we know what our enrollment is, that will help us to determine whether or not you would have the same teacher for your twin children, or if they would be, if you'd want them to have them in 2 different classes, how we could support you in that. So we will be able to determine that as we get closer and knowing where our enrollment numbers are. So kindergarten tracks, our AM and PM determinations have not been made yet. So we usually try to balance that to ensure we have an equal number of AM and PM classes. But as far as where they'll be on which tracks, that has not been determined. Jen, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. There was just one that you had missed. They wanted to know if they were going to be bumped. They like the current track that they have. So they want. And it's not necessarily that you would be bumped. However, all of the tracks across all of the schools that currently house students that are within the Miwok boundaries. So like Arlene Hine, Carroll, Zender Ranch, all of these places have children on tracks. Those children will all come to us on the track they are currently on. However, there are only so many spaces in each class. So for example, if 28 kids are scheduled into an A track first grade class, the last 4 students that registered within the district that are now at our school, I would be calling them to get their next track preference.
So that would be what would determine, again, as we said, enrollment drives. And those of you that have been a part of the Zinder Ranch community, you understand this need. And every school site I have been at that is a year-round school, so Zinder Ranch, Arthur C. Butler, and now Miwok Village, there is anytime you have a year-round schedule, there's always a chance that you are either going to have increasing enrollment, which causes the need for changes in tracks, or if there is decreasing enrollment, which also causes changes to tracks. And in that case, sometimes we're having to create combination classes, sometimes we're having to reduce tracks and classes on a track, and that happens over the course, and sometimes that happens just before the school year starts. I can promise you, as soon as we find out information, you will hear that information from us. So our intention is never to have you in a position where you don't know. We will make those calls, and they are difficult calls to make. It's never something we want to do, but as soon as we know what that will be, you will hear from us. And we're constantly monitoring where we are and what we have. So I think that was so I thank you, Jen, for catching that one. So I'm looking at our tracks as far as AM, PM. That has not been determined yet for our kinder classes. It has not been determined either for TK as far as which track TK would be on and if it is AM or PM either. For the preschool, to determine a preschool, so any messaging right now that's going out to Miwok Village Elementary will come out in the same manner. So I am able to now message our families through our Parent View and Synergy mail. So if we have your email in our system, you will receive emails. There's a few that we're still working on getting updated, but once you're registered and we have your email and you're in our system, you will get our emails through the district. It will come to you. It'll say a Synergy mail. It'll have my information and you'll be able to get that. So how you receive the reminder for tonight's meeting or how you receive the meeting information, that's how it will come to you. So if you're not getting emails from us and you know your children are registered, please let us know because we can identify where and what might be happening in that email disconnect, because we'll get that to you. So preschool, again, for preschool registration, right now we do not have a preschool program at Miwok Village Elementary School, but as soon as we have information on that and when that enrollment process opens up, we'll make sure we can get you that enrollment information for preschool. This is just for preschool. For TK through 6th grade, the enrollment is currently open and you're able to enroll your children. So the curriculum for the Elk Grove Unified School District is the same. We are an Elk Grove Unified School District elementary school, so we have the same curriculum opportunities for our students. We have the standards are the same for the district in the state of California and what our expectations are for students. As far as GATE programs and what GATE programs we'll have to offer, that will be a part of what we'll look at in supporting our students as we get closer to the development of our school year and what opportunities will be there. So we will have a committee of parents who would like to be involved in that as well, looking at those opportunities for students to extend their learning. So that's something that we'll be looking at as we get closer into our July timeframe. After school programs is Catalyst Kids. That was the number that we have that was added to the screen. Miss Jen added that in there. So we have their information for Catalyst Kids. It's also on our website under our frequently asked questions. So you can link on that. Will be there be after school care to get the regional office for Catalyst Kids. So I know there was a request for a repeat, but I'm not sure which part I needed to repeat because that is something. A walkway from the Sterling Meadows community that would come from the Elk Grove, and thank you for the thank you. I appreciate that. That would come from the city of Elk Grove. Any walkway that's put into place for any of the communities that would come from the city of Elk Grove. I have not heard about as far as what they have planned for speed bumps, for walkways, those details, traffic lights, that will come from them. But our Safe Routes to School coordinator can help us in really identifying the best ways to be able to get our students onto campus each day. And that's part of that committee that will be forming as we get closer to the opening of our school year. So for the same process will be used for those that are new to the Elk Grove Unified School District who are not in kindergarten that are coming into Miwok Village Elementary School. Will be as soon as we have those enrollment numbers. So we'll roll out the same way, whereas Jen is connecting with families. Her intention is to give that tentative where it's looking. We'll be able to go through that same process. We'll be doing that, we'll be looking at that in that March, April timeframe. So you'll have that information. If your child currently has a 504 plan, an IEP, all of those pieces, they will just come right over to us. It is a seamless process. If you have, and this is one of the pieces that I have asked, also, or I'm letting parents know, if a child has a 504 and IEP and you have a upcoming meeting where you'll be looking into supports for next year and you would like me to be a part of that process, I will happily be there. So if you let Mrs. Kilata know at Zinder Ranch or any of the sites that you're at that you would like to have me invited to the meeting, I will happily be there to support you in that process. So we will make sure that all of your information comes over, all IEPs, all 504s, any plans for student learning will come directly over to us at Miwok Village. So will TK have after school access for the after school program? So Catalyst Kids would be able to guide you in that process. So 916, that's the Catalyst Kids regional office, 830-3300. They'll be able to support you on what they have available for students for before and after school care. That will be there. So we're looking into what we will have available as far as a reading counts or accelerated reader, what would be a program that would be able to support students in their reading activities. So that has not been determined yet. We're still in the early stages of ordering our books for our library, which is so amazing to be able to go through and see the titles. So we are working with our vendors to ensure we have that. So as soon as we have one of those programs, we'll let you know which that would be also. So a request for the minutes, that is something our district does look at. So our Student Support Services Department will look at those processes and when the best time is to have the release time. So the start and end time for our school day. That is not something that they put us in as far as they share with us what those expectations will be. But I do understand traffic can get very congested in the areas around the middle school, around the high school, and around the elementary school campuses. So thank you for that. On that. So busing options. Right now, our transportation department services are provided for students who are a part of have special education services. So we have not received any word yet of transportation services for being available for students who are not currently on receiving transportation services through an IEP. So this is something that if it changes, we will absolutely let you know if additional transportation options become available. But as of right now, we do not have transportation services available. So the TK acceptance into the TK at Miwok, Jen, do you have additional information yet on where we are with our TK enrollment?
So that's a process that is not going to be completed until mostly mid-March, early April. TK is one of those things within Elk Grove that because we are a universal TK, there are no boundary lines. So once the TK cutoff date comes, which is still that February date, every school in the district compiles their list of TK students with their date and time registration and what school they would like to attend. Then we basically, the school they want to attend, we look through it, take our first 24, enroll them into the class, and then anybody left, we have to try to find them a spot throughout the district that they would be happy with. So it's quite a bit of a process, takes quite a bit of time. So I don't have an exact date, but it's not going to be for a little while.
So thank you, Jen, for sharing that. So that just helps to understand a little bit better how that TK process works. But it's with the same with our grade levels. As soon as we have that information, we will share that with you. Again, anytime you have questions or want updates, please call us. We are happy to take your call. It's the two of us sitting in this room. I'm here. Miss Jen's right there. And we sit here and have great fun all day. If you come into the Carroll office, you'll see us pop out to say hello also, any chance we get. So with the grandfathering process that will start in April for any students who want to remain at Zinder Ranch for their 5th and 6th grade year. So that approval process, once you've communicated with me and I have your application to grandfather at Zinder Ranch, return to Zinder Ranch Elementary School, I will be in communication with them, and then you'll receive information. You'll either get a call from me, Miss Jen, or someone at Zinder Ranch to let you know that your application has been approved, and this will be the next process. But as far as returning students, we'll be able to do that quickly. It'll be an easy process. So once we have that in place, you'll receive a call from one of us to let you know that your application has been approved. So again, that will start in April for the grandfathering. So our current total number of students, right now, our snapshot shows us at 611 students currently enrolled in Miwok Village Elementary School. And our projected enrollment is 850. So we are right on track. We are looking fantastic for enrollment. So I was like, and I just, every time I look out into the field, I see more houses. So it's like, we're moving right along. It's perfect. Okay. So, I apologize. Your question got skipped.
We went back.
You did it. You got it. Perfect. It was the one. You getting bumped off a track. So hopefully it was all clear there. The park that's supposed to be, there's just an open empty lot. That's supposed to be a park that's going around the school. I do not have any information around when that park will be built. So the survey asked for fall 22 enrollment. So that is essentially, so TK or preschool, pre-K runs traditionally on a traditional schedule, which would start in August. So when they say fall 22, just as the calendar year, even though we start in July, that's technically fall. So because our school year begins year-round July of 2022 and ends in June 2023, the fall begins for us whenever we begin. So July, but traditionally we go on I apologize, my child is trying to call me, so I'm letting her know that I'm not available. So we will, but it's fall 2022, but it really would be July, August. Traditionally, preschool starts on an August schedule, so they would start at that time. So, but we'll find out more information. It's interest as to whether or not you'd be interested in having a child enrolled for this next school year. So the enrollment determined for tracks for students. Track enrollment is based on availability. So where we have students enrolled is based on availability in a track. So it's a 4-track system. And so our demographics of students, it's very similar if you look at the demographics for many of our students at Zinder Ranch Elementary School, where we have, it currently runs, we do not have our demographic breakdown yet for Miwok Village Elementary School because it won't come out for us until later, but it kind of gives me a guide as using Zinder Ranch Elementary School since we have a similar demographic breakdown. So we have about 30% of our students are Asian, of Asian descent of our ethnic breakdown, and then we have about 17% of our students are Hispanic, and then we have about 12% white, 8% African American, and then we have the remainder are 2 or more or unspecified, is where we have been at Zinder Ranch. So it would be a similar breakdown. We won't have that information until we complete our CBEDS report, which usually takes place in October is when we complete that CBEDS. And that's where we'll get our full breakdown, which is always fun to be able to get that information and see where our students are. School hours yet? We do not have those yet. As soon as we do, we will have that information to you. Okay, so you're getting emails for your daughter who goes to Carroll. So it is, if you're getting information, your daughter's at Carroll, but you're getting information from me, that means your daughter is scheduled to attend Miwok Village Elementary School. So again, give us a call. We're here at Carroll, so we can support you in that process also. But if you're currently residing in the boundaries for Miwok Village Elementary School, your children's enrollment, if they're at another school in the district, has automatically been transitioned to us at Miwok Village Elementary School. So that is why you'd be getting my emails. And so we can help you in that, in determining why, but we're here. So we are happy to support you in that.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm the one that my daughter's in Carroll.
Okay.
I've been on cancer treatment, and a lot is on me. And she's been catching a bus. Will the bus still be able to?
Not for MVE. So we won't have, so because she's offloaded, is she currently, should she be attending Zinder Ranch this year?
I don't know. I just know she was offloaded for Zender to Carroll.
Okay, so she's offloaded. There is transportation for offloaded students, so it allows her to be able to catch the bus and come over here to Carroll. But since she'll be able to attend her home school, which will be MVE Village, there will not be transportation available. But call us and we can help you with what you need, but it's only in the offloading circumstances is transportation available besides the special education.
Okay, yeah, because I'm gonna probably need some help, but I'll call you. The number is in the email, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So give us a call and we will help you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, absolutely. So your kids will be moving from Zinder Ranch to MVE Village. Track change, do we need to apply? So if you plan to change tracks or you want to change tracks and you will want to do that, and when we send out the track change information and the online process for that, you will definitely want to do that, and we will help you with that process if the space is available to do that. And thank you for all the compliments. We appreciate it. We're just so happy you all are here. Oh, and the question, let's see, I think that's it. Oh, free lunch and breakfast. Yes, we will continue. It is going to continue. The process will continue where we will have free breakfast and lunch for all students. This is something that California has put into place. It's thrilled that we have this now available. So lunch and breakfast will continue to be free for our students in the next school year. And I think we got through all the questions. Fantastic. So thank you so much for coming tonight. I am incredibly appreciative. Again, this is being recorded, so I'm going to now stop the recording and we'll download that and have it up for you tomorrow. Well, my intention is always to have it up for you.